So what if the next time you look something up, the answer you get wasn't written by a person at all, but by an algorithm? Well, that's not science fiction. It's the future, at the very heart of a new kind of information war. We're talking about a high-stakes showdown between the encyclopedia we all know and use, Wikipedia, and a brand new AI-powered challenger. But this isn't just about who gets to write the articles. It's about who, or what, gets to define truth itself in the age of AI. Let's dive in. And right there, with that one tweet, Elon Musk wasn't just making a crude joke. He was basically declaring war. Yeah, this is not going to be some friendly competition between two websites. This is a direct ideological attack on one of the internet's most foundational pillars. And, it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about the tone of this fight. It's personal. So, let's meet the contenders in the ring. In one corner, you've got the heavyweight champ, the familiar giant, Wikipedia, built on 2 decades of messy human collaboration. And in the other corner, you have the brand new challenger, Grokipedia. It's an AI-powered upstart with the backing of, you guessed it, one of the most powerful and, let's say, controversial figures in tech. It's kind of like a classic David versus Goliath story, except in this version, David has a supercomputer and a serious grudge.
But to really get what's at stake here, you've got to look past the headlines and the name-calling. This is so much bigger than just a new website popping up. The sources we've looked at all frame this as the opening shot in a completely new kind of information war. And this one isn't going to be fought on battlefields, but in the actual code that powers our entire digital world.
Because here's the thing. The real prize in this war isn't getting you to click on their website. It's about controlling the foundational data, the source code really, that trains all of our AI. Think about it like this. For centuries, whoever wrote the history books got to shape the future, right? Well, in the 21st century, whoever writes the training data for our AI literally gets to shape the reality of our digital world. That's why this is such a big deal.
So, what's the big problem that Grokipedia is supposedly here to solve? I mean, why build a whole new thing? Well, according to its creators, the current system is completely broken. They're basically arguing that Wikipedia has lost its way and that the only fix is a radical, new technological approach.
The central accusation, the big one, is all about bias. Critics, and that includes everyone from Elon Musk to, get this, Wikipedia's own co-founder, argue that the site is just not a neutral space for knowledge anymore. The claim is that it's been taken over by left-wing activists who use their power as editors to push an agenda and suppress any views they don't like. And here's the crucial part. They believe this bias isn't just a Wikipedia problem. They see it as a virus that's infecting the very AI models that train on its data, creating this massive systemic blind spot in our emerging digital brain.
Okay, so what's the proposed solution to this very human problem of bias and infighting? Well, maybe unsurprisingly, it's a technological one. Grokipedia's answer isn't to get better human editors, it's to get rid of them. The idea is to use a powerful AI to cut through all that human noise and deliver a more objective truth. But how is that even supposed to work?
At the very heart of Grokipedia is this process they're calling synthetic correction. Okay, so imagine a super intelligent fact-checker that can read, well, everything ever written, instantly spot all the biases, the half-truths, the outright lies, and then just rewrite it all to be more accurate. That's the big promise here, to replace the messy, complicated, often angry process of human debate with the cold, hard logic of an algorithm.
So here's how that actually breaks down. Step 1 is ingestion. The Grok AI just hoovers up a massive amount of data. Not just Wikipedia, but academic papers, news articles, basically the whole web. Then comes the really critical part, the analysis, where the AI tries to figure out what's true, what's kind of true, and what's just plain false or missing. And finally, you get the rewriting, where the AI spits out a brand new, supposedly corrected version of the truth. It's a completely automated workflow designed to take the human editor right out of the equation.
But this whole tech difference is really just the tip of the iceberg, because underneath it all, there is a deep philosophical clash over the very nature of truth itself. Seriously, this isn't just about 2 different ways of building an encyclopedia, it's about 2 fundamentally different ways of seeing the world. And this, right here, is the heart of the matter. For Wikipedia, truth is basically a social contract. It's whatever a community of people can agree on based on sources they all deem reliable. It's messy, it's slow, it's very human, but it's transparent. Grokipedia, on the other hand, is chasing something different, something it calls objective truth. The belief here is that an AI, guided by pure logic, can figure out what is factually correct, completely independent of human opinion or debate. It's a really bold idea, and frankly, some people would say, a pretty dangerous one.
And this chart really lays out the trade-offs perfectly. With Grokipedia, you get blazing speed, real-time updates. But why it says what it says, that's a total black box. Wikipedia, on the other hand, is slow, it's prone to all kinds of human drama. But every single edit, every argument is public and traceable. And that brings us down to that final, crucial row, trust. Where do you place your trust? In an AI and the people who built it, or in a messy, sprawling, but ultimately human community?
And that very question of trust leads us right to the central, massive challenge facing this whole project, what some are calling the AI credibility paradox. Because look, if you're going to build a new encyclopedia on the promise of being perfectly unbiased, you'd better be damn sure your AI can actually pull it off.
The stated goal is, well, it's ambitious, to say the least, to create a more objective, truthful, and unbiased source of knowledge than Wikipedia. A really noble ambition, for sure. But here's the paradox. Can the tool they've chosen to build it with, a large language model, actually deliver on that promise?
So far, the evidence is not great. The Grok AI itself has a pretty well-documented history of generating some bizarre and deeply problematic stuff. We're talking about everything from praising Hitler to spitting out conspiracy theories. And in a moment of beautiful irony, it even turned on its own creator. Look, these aren't just minor glitches. These are fundamental failures that strike right at the heart of Grokipedia's entire reason for existing.
And you know what? This isn't a problem that's unique to Grok. Get this. One recent academic study found that when AI was used to summarize scientific papers, a staggering 30% of its conclusions were just factually wrong. 30%. That's not just a bug, that's a massive fundamental vulnerability for any system that's claiming to be a source of truth.
And the skepticism is coming from everywhere. I mean, when even a top critic of Wikipedia, a guy who wants a competitor to succeed, comes out and says he's concerned that the new alternative could be inherently biased, you know you've got a serious credibility problem on your hands.
Okay, so this might all sound like a pretty niche debate, right? A couple of tech billionaires fighting with some encyclopedia nerds. Who cares? Well, the outcome of this information war has real, practical implications for every single one of us who uses the internet. So let's talk about what this all means for you.
The sources we looked at lay out a pretty clear playbook for this new era. The game is changing, and we all have to adapt. It means you have to start treating your public information, your website, your brand, not just as content for humans, but as a data set for AI. It means you should be investing in the kind of original, creative work that an AI can't just scrape and replicate. And you've absolutely got to monitor how you're being represented on these new AI platforms, because there's no human editor you can appeal to if they get it wrong. The bottom line is this. In the age of AI, things like authority and trust are being completely redefined, and you need to be ready for it.
And so that's the choice we're left with. On one side, we've got Wikipedia, a flawed, messy, deeply human democracy of knowledge. And on the other, we have the promise of a perfectly objective but completely opaque dictatorship of code. The question isn't just who writes the encyclopedia anymore, it's who or what do we trust to tell us the truth. And in this new information war, that is the billion-dollar question that's going to define our future.